Guys, I've made it to Strongsville, Ohio, where I will be at Cinema Wasteland. It was pretty cool. I came in and first thing I see is Alex Vincent walking around having a cup of coffee. It was pretty cool. So let's continue our day.
The film which you are about to see is an account of the tragedy which befell a group of 5 youths, in particular Sally Hardesty and her invalid brother Franklin. It is all the more tragic in that they were young, but had they lived very, very long lives, they could not have expected, nor would they have wished to see as much of the mad and macabre as they were to see that day. For them, an idyllic summer afternoon drive became a nightmare. The events of that day were to lead to the discovery of one of the most bizarre crimes in the annals of American history, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It was such a good day. I had so much fun. Can't wait for day 2.
Go back to the beginning here. We've talked a lot of, a couple reunions we haven't talked a lot, but since we have Kim here, I'd like to go all the way back to the beginning of TCM. There's like so many little stories about what was the inspiration for it, and, from Ed Gein to Toby Hooper to saw, in a crowded store at Christmas, saw a chainsaw in the background. Can you fill us in and let us know, the true inspiration? How did everything really begin on that?
Well, Toby and I started talking about doing a film sometime after we wrapped Eggshells, and we really developed what the basic structure of chainsaw is that you see today. It was really based structurally on Hansel and Gretel, and so that was our basic storyline, or through line through the script. But the times we lived in, those were the inspiration. Ed Gein, of course, filled in some background inspiration too. But there was some murders that occurred in Houston. I think they called them the Candyman murders with Elmer Wayne Hensley. And that was happening really the summer of '73. So we sort of incorporated elements of those characters into the script as well. Anything more?
No. I was just so you know, I was sorry. I was being patient and listening for once. But so once you had the basic story down, did the screenplay just kind of flow?
No, originally we had a disagreement, Toby and I, about what would be in that house, and part of what Toby originally envisioned in that house was sort of an electronic presence, something that lacked actual physical substance, that was not human. And I felt very strongly that what was really scary, we're looking at in the mirror. So, we went back and forth there on that subject for some time, and we actually sort of dropped the ball. We didn't do anything for quite a year, and then about a year later, Toby called me up and he said, "Okay, here's what we do." And basically, he come around to human occupants in the house and the character of Leatherface, the big brutish character. And we really just sat down at night. He lived across the railroad tracks from where I lived, and I'd get home from work. I was working as an illustrator at the time, and I'd get home from work, go home, get something to eat, chill a minute, and walk over to Toby's. I could actually walk across Mopac in Austin. If any of you guys familiar with Austin, it's just some railroad tracks in the old days, but it's a freeway now. But I could walk right across there, and we just worked until 2 o'clock in the morning. And I think once we actually sat down, we cranked out first draft in about 6 weeks and went to town. Yeah, we sat down and talked through every aspect of the script before I put words on page, and I'd go off into the kitchen where there was a little typewriter on the dining room table, and I would clack out half a dozen pages and bring them back into Toby. And our criteria was that I could keep him chuckling we were on the right path. So we always thought, that there was a very humorous aspect to it. I was part of it from the get-go. We realized that did not come through for some time because it is there. All right?
Yeah, well, we've got Dan Pearl with us for the first time too, and
that's very nice of y'all. Thank you very much.
And now we have a screenplay, we have a location, and we have this little farmhouse in August in Texas, and it's really, it's a tight, claustrophobic film, which makes it even more frightening. But what I wanted to ask Dan was, it was basically your first film. Did you get, did Toby just say, "Well, show me what you got"?
Well, I'd gone to film school at the University of Texas in Austin, and they told us you couldn't get in the film business. It's never going to happen for you. If you love filmmaking, you'll go on and get a master's degree, and you'll teach, and if you're lucky, you'll get a grant and you'll make films on the weekends and the summers. So I bought into that and went to graduate school. At that time, because I was basically like the staff cinematographer for the film school, both undergraduate school. When I went to graduate school, I shot all the films for those guys. So I probably had about 4 or 5 hours of finished film by the time Toby got around to hire me. And the way that happened, that came about, I only just learned this maybe about a year ago. A guy named Larry Carroll, who was an editor, Toby, I hired him as an editor. And Larry, he used to direct training films for the Texas Department of Public Safety, basically the Texas State Police, that I used to shoot. And one of the films that we made was a drug bust. And the point of this drug bust for the training was that you're going to bust into the room, and there's going to be half a dozen people in there, and one of them's going to try and get the drugs to the toilet to flush them. So it's the whole thing they're rehearsing is coming in there, slamming everybody against the wall or the floor, and chasing that one guy to the toilet to tackle him and get the drugs before he does it. So we shot this very bam, 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 boom, boom, very sketchily lit, camera whipping around like crazy. And I guess Larry must have showed it to Toby in the course of landing a job, and Toby decided that that's the cameraman I need to shoot this film.
Wow, that's great. When did you yourself then get in there? We all know the story about the amazingly hot, stinky farmhouse shooting, but while shooting in there, did you, like basically it was squeezy, the room, it's not a huge place.
It was not huge. It was already hot. It was Texas in July, August. It's already over 100 degrees. And it was mandated, for those of you who are a little bit technical, we were going to shoot 16 millimeter, but they wanted to have a 35 millimeter blow up in the theaters. So it was mandated that I had to shoot on the finest grain 16 millimeter film that would blow up the best. Those of you who know ASA and ISO, it was 25, which is 16 times less light sensitive than cameras are today. So that also adding to the heat. I have inside the dinner scene at night, the scene that we shot 27 hours that day. Yeah, those light bulbs that are in here, they're 500 watt photo floods, and they're so hot, and the head cheese is stinking and rotten. We didn't have extra head cheese. Of course, we didn't think we were going 27 hours that day either, so we didn't have anything. But I got to say that the situation was miserable often, but I think it comes across the screen. I think that, no, I really do. No, I'm serious. I'm serious about that. If you sit, now here it is 50 years later. I've been on a few shoots now, and when everybody's happy and having a good time, it doesn't usually generate a great film. You have to suffer for our art, and so we certainly did on this one.
Yeah, true.
How many times did you have to stop filming because someone had a call and say, hey, I got a puke or something?
I had a what?
How many times did you have to stop filming because an important cast member in the shot had a puke or something?
I don't. Ed may know the answer to that.
Which one?
He's talking about if they were puking during a dinner scene. If the people got so violently ill from the smell of it.
All I know is I turned to Toby and I said, who do I have to sleep with to get off this film? And Toby, like he always did, said, what? No, people, who took the nausea shots? Was that Marilyn? The doctor came and gave a nausea shot? I think it was Marilyn who actually had a physical nausea shot because they, in a real movie, you have a $280,000 plastic forming machine, and you make whatever you need, and then the airbrush guy comes in, and they make 20 of them in case you need them. In low-budget movie making, you go and buy real meat, and you put it on a plate, and then 27 hours later, with Mr. Danny's lights, the meat is simmering. Not because it's on a hot plate, because it's on your plate. And the fumes are coming from the plate. I'm like this. Toby's on the other side of the camera talking to Jay Parsons. He goes, wow, Ed's doing really well. He is so on it tonight.
Motherfucker, I can't do nothing else.
Added to the heat situation, I should mention, is that it's 27 hours, so it's some of it's night, some of it's day. It's supposed to be night in the film. We have to black out all the windows. So now the sun's hitting the black, which is heating up even more, and there's no ventilation. So it was just the worst possible situation you can imagine.
Like I did, I just turned to John and said, and you were buried under makeup.
Well, when he'd say, okay, we're going to reset, cool the lights and all that stuff. And then, I don't know if anybody else remembers this, but there was an old white box fan in the corner with a little white, and and the cord had cat shit all along. From all the cats that lived in that house was the people who actually lived there. And they, let's cool the lights, and some rip or something was just trying to plug that thing in, and we just sitting in the corner going.
John, you know it's all your fault we had to shoot for 27 hours.
Yeah, well, they're not that far from wrong.
John's mask was created by a plastic surgeon, and there were 3 different sets of them. They're all in parts, but they essentially had to be glued to his face. And we were down to our 3rd and last mask, and that's all we had. So we had to shoot until we got everything with John out of the way.
Yeah.
So it's your fault, John. We're
With that being said, on the same subject, this one question I've never seen asked, and maybe it has been asked. outside of Apocalypse Now, which was actually filmed in the jungle, the filming conditions you guys went through were probably about the same. But was there ever one scene, one day, no matter how much you shot, how much you put into it, it's like, okay, I'm going home. Did that thought ever come through anybody's mind?
No. It wasn't the same at all. I moved troops through triple canopy jungle in Vietnam easier than shooting beginners.
Alright guys, this is what I got from Cinema Wasteland. First, I'm going to show you my autographs. So, I got this on day one because I was kind of worried about the demand because you got the biggest reunion cast here of Texas Chainsaw, but it wasn't even that bad. I was able to knock it out in about an hour and a half. So, first guy I went up to, because I thought he was going to be in high demand, was the co-writer, Kim Henkel. Then I went down the line to Roger Bartlett. He was the Fool for the Blonde singer. He made the song Fool for a Blonde, and that song is the only song, I think, in the movie Texas Chainsaw when they're in the van. Then I went down to the next one was William Vale, Kirk. And then you got Alan Dingsinger, who played Jerry, the one with the fro and the glasses. Then I went over to Terry McMinn. And she signed this one, very cute, like Pam plus Kirk, help me. And why not? She signed this part because look who's in the background. It's Pam. So after I got Terry McMinn, I got Ed Neal, who played the hitchhiker Nubbin Sawyer. And then after that, John Dugan, Grandpa Sawyer. And then speaking of John Dugan, Grandpa Sawyer, and most of you know that I am the proud owner of the Grandpa Sawyer mask that was in all the Merkins videos in the past. Well, some friends of mine, you've seen it in the previous video, I think, that my friends got together from the Merc fam. They picked up a collection and bought me this wonderful thing for my birthday. And then, of course, me and Roy were talking. We're like, oh, get Dugan to sign it. And then, of course, I was like, okay. Now we came to now where I met Dugan. We got to know each other, had a few drinks, had some fun. And he actually shared my profile picture, which is me dressed up as Leatherface next to him, saying, just a Bubba and his Grandpa Sawyer. But, yeah, he signed it after a few drinks. We had so much fun. But, all right, now on to the other stuff that I got. So, let's see here. We'll start with this one. This is a mini bust of me, of Leatherface. That is so cool. I can't wait to put, and most of this stuff is going to be on my desk for when I get my Leatherface office all fixed up, because I would love to do some live streams with Roy from the Merkins as Leatherface. And you know how Freddy has his office? Well, Leatherface will have his office too. Here's a Hot Topic exclusive Leatherface pop. And the reason it's so interesting is because it doesn't have a chainsaw in it, but it does have the sledge. So all I need now are two different pops. I need the original, that was just the basic looking Leatherface pop, and the Pretty Woman pop. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre store was there, or the official website, and they also took a picture of me as Leatherface in front of their stand, and it was really cool. I'm like, if this is not Texas Chainsaw approved, I don't know what is. But here we go. I bought some stickers from them. Here's a pretty nice one that I would love to get this tattooed to me someday. And here's another one. And this one's actually my favorite. This one. And I think I'm going to put those on my laptop. Like, I'm going to clean my laptop off and then slap those on there. And here we have a lapel pin. Enamel lapel pin. And here it says, I survived the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. A camouflage koozie of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh, and when I was in line for Roger Bartlett, he never gets asked this often. So if you ever get the chance to meet him, you should get a picture with him. He's a great guy. And he's very known in the movie, actually. He's the only guy who put a song in there, pretty much. So, yeah, I got the CD from him. Fool for a Blonde. Here we have a 40th anniversary edition copy, sealed, of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the semi. Oh, and got Toby Hooper on the back here. 4K restoration. Very beautiful looking. Let's see. Maybe I should grab both of these instead of just one of them, because they're pretty much the same thing, just different styles. So, hold on. Right here we have two 30th anniversary copies, DVD and also DVD, but this one looks like meat. And this one is gold. Gold. I'm just kidding. I don't know what it is. It's a steelbook copy. And I thought they were both cool. And I was like, I gotta have them. Especially this one, because it looks like a package of meat. So those are both 30th anniversary edition copies. I did get some VHSs. I got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on VHS. I always wanted this copy on VHS. I do want to get some other variations of the VHS copy, like where he's running and the eyes up above the of Leatherface, and then a Wizard video first edition copy would be pretty cool, and then Betamax and also Laserdisc. But here's another VHS. This is the return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And most of you that don't know what this is, because some of you out there are like, I've never heard of this movie. Why isn't it part of the lineup? Funny story, if you Google it, it will tell you that it is not the name of the movie. It'll tell you that it is also known as the Texas Chainsaw Next Generation. So, yeah, this movie VHS copy, they only made limited amounts of them. But, yeah, they were set to release. They made several copies in Japan. They made a few copies in the US. that say Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but they thought it was such a movie flop that they re-released it and called it The Next Generation instead. And it has Matthew McConaughey in it, Renee Zellweger. Yeah. Matthew McConaughey in his first starring role. That's awesome. And it says that on the packaging too. And I also got some, I finally have a Leatherface NECA figure. That'll go in my office as well. So as I was saying, I do have some not Texas Chainsaw Massacre related things. For example, a Blu-ray copy of Terrifier. So now I have that to go with my Terrifier 2. My Star Wars holiday special copy now. I can't wait to watch that. And I love to support independent filmmakers of all kinds. And I really had to get behind this one called Guts on the Chainsaw. After the traumatizing event, Nova tries to piece her life back together to prove that she isn't crazy. Her friends and family have her convinced that the events which occurred were due to her self-inflicted behaviors. Ignoring them all, Nova sets off on one last hike through the backwoods of Pennsylvania to face her fears. But watching from the forest is a clan of inbred cannibals with an impressible taste for human flesh and monstrous brutality. In the nightmare that follows, what depravites must Nova endure to survive, and who will become the most shocking savage of them all. That is so cool. So this is about a girl going through trauma of some events that happened. So she goes to the backwoods of Pennsylvania, meets a bunch of inbred hillbillies who are cannibals, and she's gonna fight them off with a chainsaw. And to find out that she's the lunatic, not them. Or maybe she's just as worse as they are. I don't know. I got some more stuff here. Here you go, trolls. Ah ha ha. Yep. That is a severed middle finger hand. Totally made out of silicone. It's super cool. Oh, and you're probably wondering, why is there a lamp behind me? Well, let me show you. Look at the faces on there. Ooh, and it lights up. Wow. But look how lifelike that looks. I can't wait to put that on my desk. What I think I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to use a leg lamp instead of this lamp. I think it'll look really cool and tear up like the fishnet stockings on the leg lamp. I'm not going to deface my big leg lamp with all my Christmas Story autographs on it, but my little desk lamp would be pretty cool. Put a little blood on it, make it look really cool. And I went to the mall afterwards, after all of that, and I was like, I gotta kill some time before I go see my good friends at the Merkins. So, with that, I decided to go and get this finally, and it was on sale. It is a number to paint by number set of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from Netflix. And this is my fourth favorite Texas Chainsaw movie, so pretty happy to have this. Can't wait to start painting it. That's all I got, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Hey, If y'all like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want to see any new Nerdy Hillbilly videos. And I will see y'all later. Bye! And don't forget to get your Nerdy Hillbilly merch at Chaos and Class Designs.